Hi, this is Cricbuzz Live. Dinesh Karthik's alongside me, and I don't know whether to smile or no because he said 175 and New Zealand made 176. So I'll turn to Karthik and say, but you said that if spinners bowl well in the middle overs, it could be 150 all out.
That's one way to say it, for sure. We also said that we needed a few wickets, which we didn't get. I think that's when New Zealand did well, found a way to stitch together partnerships, but that last over was the one that caused a lot of trouble for Team India.
Yeah, so just let's look at where they stood then and where the runs came from, because it seemed at one point they're going to fall short. 27 runs came off Arshdeep's last over. Daryl Mitchell took heavy toll, first 2 balls, 19 runs because of 6, no ball 6, 59 of 30 balls. Conway, after a slightly sluggish start, got going very quickly because Finn Allen had done the heavy lifting at the start, 35 of 23. And they'll look back at that 176 for 6 and they'll be thinking, have you done well? Is there a little bit of dew around? The spinners bowled beautifully. Look at that. 8 overs, 3 for 22. Will the spinners get the same amount of purchase when New Zealand come back? Because they've got potentially 12 overs of spin. But then look at what happened with the quick bowlers. Hardik Pandya, 3 overs, 33. Arshdeep Singh, 4 overs, 51, including that dreaded gong for the no ball. DK said he might bowl 1. He bowled 1. Umran Malik, 1 over 16. Shivam Mavi, 2 overs, 19. So it was a completely different scenario depending on who was bowling.
Absolutely. I think you can see the 10 overs of the spinners have gone for 56 runs, which basically means in the other 10, they've gone for 110. We said this wicket obviously is much easier for the spinners to bowl on, but the fast bowlers with the cutters, I think Shivam Mavi, even though he just bowled the 2, I thought he held his nerve and bowled a good couple of overs. They were doing well up until last over. When that no ball came, I think that literally, troubled Arshdeep a lot.
You've done that a couple of times yourself. So how are the 2 change rooms? Because in the commentary box, we often use the dreaded 8-letter word, momentum. But how are the 2 change rooms feeling? Are you still thinking, you know what, I would have taken 175 at the start of the day, so it's okay they've made 175? Or are you thinking, I could have kept them down to 155, now they made 175?
I think if the dew wasn't a factor, then they would be very disappointed. But with the dew being there, I do think this will be a chase which wouldn't be as tough as it looks right now.
Because early on, when Washington was bowling, to some extent when Kuldeep was bowling is a different kind of bowler, there was grip and there was turn. New Zealand won't get that much, you're saying, because of the dew. It might skid through. Absolutely.
I think the bowler that we need to watch out for is Mitchell Santner because he varies his pace. He's a finger spinner, so there'll be a lot more on offer for him. Whereas Ish Shodhi so much wouldn't be that much of a threat in this wicket because of the fact that the dew will aid the ball coming onto the bat a lot better. We will see that in this inning already, the fact that spinners will not be as effective as they were in the first innings. And I think that will be the big difference for us.
Let's look at that New Zealand batting lineup then and let's see how they went about it. You'll find that at every stage of the game, there's someone to get a move on, except for a little period in between. When Santner got out, Bracewell got out, Phillips didn't really get going, Chapman didn't get going. So Finn Allen got them off to a start. Once he was gone, Devon Conway picked it up. And courtesy that last over. Now look at what's happened in the last over. Daryl Mitchell's made 27 of 6. So effectively before that, he's 32 of 24, which means he's not really gone off. Up to that 19th over, it wasn't easy. 20th over rather. I keep saying 19th over because we still live in dread of the 19th over for India. So 59, yeah, I mean, he had a free hit situation, didn't he, in the 20th over?
Absolutely. I think at a point when a middle order batsman gets into the 19th and 20th over, you just need to go all guns blazing. And I think luckily for him, even though the 19th over, he didn't get too much strike and just didn't have a big over, but the 20th over, he made up for it. I think Arshdeep bowling that no ball put a lot of pressure on him. And then when you get 13 runs of 1 ball, you set the cat amongst the pigeons. After that, it's all free hits.
So what can India learn from what New Zealand did on this track? I guess if the dew is coming, you can say, even if we don't get off to a big start, as the game goes along, if we've got wickets, we can always score at the back end? Or are you going to say, no, we just go boom, boom, boom at the start and always stay ahead of the required rate?
I think it won't be that much of a factor that you need to hold wickets because I think with the fact that there is already dew in the wicket, the ball is going to come on much better. It will aid stroke play. And the one thing we've seen with this team led by Hardik Pandya is they are not shy of playing a shot or two right from the start. So I think we will get that. We are going to see that we will see India coming out with a very positive intent. And I wouldn't be surprised if they score upwards of 60 at the first 6 overs. And then from there on, it'll be pretty smooth sailing.
That much?
I think so.
So if you're sitting in, say the Indian change room, we talked about what the Indian change room would be if there was dew. You're sitting in the New Zealand change room. Are you suddenly lifted? Or will there be someone in there saying, look, man, it's dew. It doesn't look as big as it is?
I think they'll be lifted with the fact that they got 176.
Yeah.
They could have easily ended up with 155 to 160.
Yeah.
But they know that that score might still not be enough if the dew keeps getting higher. As the temperature keeps dropping, the dew tends to increase, and with that, it gets tougher to bowl. So that is something that we will see. Right now, the dew will be less, but it will keep increasing with every 2-3 overs that happens. With every 10 minutes, you can see the difference. And I'm pretty sure if the match goes on till the 17th, 18th over, which it will, towards the end, they'll find it really hard to bowl those slow ones.
Let's look at that bowling card once again. There's something interesting there. Let's look at that bowling card once again. Because you look at Washington Sundar, he is still another bowler who's at his best in T20 cricket, finding his feet around in one-day international cricket. But he's bowled 11 dot balls. Kuldeep Yadav's bowled 10 dot balls. You look at down the list of dot balls, not only are they taking wickets, or maybe they're taking wickets as an outcome of bowling that many dot balls. So there's 21 balls not scored off. What do you like about Washington Sundar?
As I told you before, the bounce, number one, he's an overspin. So the fact that he can overspin the ball, if there's a bit of turn on the wicket, then it gets the ball to dip and turn a lot more than what it normally would. What happens with the side spinner is the odd one would go straight, but with him, because he has overspin on the ball and he's got big fingers as well, so he imparts revolutions on the ball, which gets the ball to get that extra bounce.
He's a young kid. You know him well. I think his mother makes good desserts as well, but that's for another day. You must have a big heart. You must have that presence to be able to bowl in the power play as often as he does. That's the one thing that strikes me when I see him. He's comfortable bowling in that situation.
Absolutely. I think this day and age, the spinners are in many ways trying to fashion themselves in being a power play specialist. Another bowler that I can think of straight away is Mahesh Theekshana, who bowls a lot in the power play. So these bowlers, at least for a Mahesh Theekshana, he has the ball that goes straight through the the slider. So these are his options. Whereas with Washington, it's just change in pace and change in line. These are the only two things that he works on. But what works well for him is when he gets hit, he reacts to being hit very well. Even if you see the Glenn Phillips dismissal, he got hit for a sixth the previous ball, but came back, slowed down the pace, bowled the ball slightly away from the batter, and Finn Allen got induced into playing that shot, and that's what makes him a very special bowler. His ability to recover when he's hit for a boundary is very good, and that's a very important attribute to have when you're bowling in the power play.
You talk to all the old spinners of the past, and if you ask them, what do you like most? They'll say, he got a cotton bowled. I don't know what it is about. You ask any of the old spinners, what form of dismissal did you like the most? They say cotton bowled. He got a really good cotton ball. I think he did well to get there, and he's a tall boy, he's young, but I thought that was an excellent catch.
Absolutely. I think when you get a cotton bowl, especially if it's an easy catch, that means you've bowled a good ball. You've beaten the batsman in the flight and you've induced a bad shot, and that's what happens when you get a cotton ball. That's what makes cotton bowl so special. The two forms of dismissal that most spinners will really enjoy is getting a batsman bowled through the gate and getting a cotton bowl, because on both occasions, one thing that is for sure that is done is the fact that the ball is tipped and you've beaten the batsman in the air. And that is something that they work on, the spinners. You speak to any spinner, the one thing that they'll obviously and constantly keep working on is get the ball to dip. And that comes with imparting spin, because only when you impart spin and get those revolutions will the ball dip in that air.
I know you ask a spinner, do you like dark chocolate more? Do you like dip on the ball more? They'll say dip on the ball more than dark chocolate. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the Indian batting order then and see what the approach could be. It's just under 9 runs and over. Ishan Kishan, Rahul Tripathi, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Deepak Hooda, all of them capable of playing in one gear. I know the word anchor is a big debate in T20 cricket. Is there room for one? Is there not? Maybe if you're scoring 140, 150, there is. But what role do you see a Shubman Gill playing in this lineup here? Does he go boom boom like Ishan Kishan? Or do you say, no, Shubman, doesn't matter if you score 120, but keep the wicket?
I think Shubman will bat with a good tempo, not the tempo that a Rahul Tripathi or an Ishan Kishan is going to bat with. But what he will do is carry forward the confidence that he came from the ODIs. You might see him outscoring Ishan only because he's playing after some time, whereas he is in the thick of making runs. And that matters a lot. At the end of the day, sport is all about confidence, just like in life. And I think he is at his most confident right now when it comes to opening the bat.
He's batting incredibly. I mean, those back foot punches that he plays, there's a short arm jab that he plays that's all his own, whether he's hitting it here or he's hitting it there. I don't know how much of that he'll get in the T20 form, but he plays that really well. Let's look at the bowling. Let's see what they're going to be up against, because there's not a lot of experience in this bowling side. There's Lockie Ferguson, who's been around for a long time, but Tickner, Duffy, Michael Bracewell, there's not a lot of experience there. The spinners with Sodhi and Santner are, but the three inexperienced bowlers there.
Absolutely. I think it's a mix of obviously experience with three bowlers who have played for some time now and the other three who haven't played so much cricket. So they'll also be under pressure. It's one thing to bowl in New Zealand where the conditions help you to a point, but in this ground when the conditions aren't in favour of you, and they're going to be very reliant on the slow ones because they would have watched the game, and that's the advantage where you have when you bat first. You can see what the opponent is doing and they would have realised the cutters seem to work. But the problem will come if the dew tends to get higher than what it is right now, then it'll be hard to grip the ball. That would mean the cutters would be a tough ball to bowl, and that would in turn they'd go back to short of good length balls.
Chasing side favourite? Power play score.
India right now.
Power play.
Power play, I'm going for 64.
I was going to go 48, 50. I thought you might come down 64 because he thinks there's about 6 Dinesh Karthiks playing at the moment. I'm going 51. Let's see. But keep your eyes out when you're watching the game for towels and for dew.